Hello and a very warm welcome to a new video here on my channel here at Comaik. Today I want to talk to you about the Anthbot M5 LiDAR robotic mower. This is the little thing driving there behind me. It's a robotic mower specifically designed for small gardens up to 500 square meters. The special thing about this robotic mower is, among other things, that it doesn't need RTK and of course no boundary wire in the ground either. It navigates using the LiDAR principle. It scans the surroundings using lasers and is therefore ideal for small winding gardens where there are trees, where there are houses, where RTK reaches its limits. I've tested the robot extensively. I'm still testing it and I'm taking you along in this video to show you what it can do, what it can't do, and if it's worth the money. Let's get to the unboxing of the Anthbot LiDAR M5, and it's all very straightforward. You have a box. Right at the top, inside the box, the quick start guide is included, available in German and English. And as for accessories, there's nothing more than what you see here. Because clearly this robot is very easy to install. Set up the charging station, anchor it in the ground, connect the power supply. For that, a long cable is included. There's a power adapter included. It's simply connected on the back, IPX6, waterproof. And for mounting, you naturally also have an Allen key, these ground anchors, and a screwdriver included. And other than that, besides the robot, there's only a printed manual if you need it, because all other data is also available in the app. That's all there is to it, because simple should stay simple. And the robot itself, if you look at it, is small and compact. The LiDAR tower provides a resolution of the surroundings. The environment is scanned with pinpoint accuracy using lasers, and all objects the robot detects in the vicinity are assembled into a 3D map, into a point map. And no matter where you simply place the robot on the property later on, it scans the surroundings, recognizes this mapped area, and therefore knows exactly where it is located. This system is not suitable for large open areas. Well, it basically works there too, but not as optimally. For large open areas, you should rely on RTK, meaning satellite navigation, but especially for smaller gardens up to 500 square meters with lots of trees, winding areas, a trampoline on the lawn, or even a few garden chairs. So everything that makes things incredibly complex and winding. That's where LiDAR really shows its strengths. You have two more cameras at the front of the robot as an alternative or supplement to LiDAR. Naturally, this robot also uses the camera system to film the surroundings in HD, to detect obstacles, to detect animals, and to properly navigate around them, and of course the property boundaries as well. On top of the robot, you have the 3-button menu. You have the rain sensor. The robot detects when it's raining and automatically returns. The large stop button, and then the underside. You see a single rotating disc with a total of 5 blades that cut the grass accurately. The diffuser, which ensures that the clippings are nicely ejected to the rear. That's pretty much it. To protect the robot properly, there's some extra accessories. For example, a garage. I'll show you that later. And now I'm going to set up the charging station first and pair the robot with the app. So there they are, the current robotic mowers I'm testing this season. And at the top of the line, the Anthbot M5 LiDAR. The charging station is small and compact, and like my other robots, it doesn't sit on the lawn because it doesn't have to. The charging station can be placed somewhere off to the side. As long as the robot can easily drive its way there, you can place it anywhere. The connection on the back via the power cable is done. That's all it needs, because navigation is handled by the LiDAR tower, which is permanently installed here, so it can't be retracted. To use the robot now, I first have to install it in the app. The Anthbot app is available for Android and for iOS. I'll put the relevant links below this video in the description. You can download them directly there. To be able to use it, you must, of course, first set up the robot in the app and then map your property, your lawn. I'll show you that now. In the app, you click on the plus in the top right or on Add Device. Bluetooth must be activated and the app automatically searches the area for a suitable robot. The M5 LiDAR was found immediately. I click on it, can still change the name, and now I just have to add the Wi-Fi. The setup in the app takes less than 2 minutes. Maybe a software update afterwards and you can start setting up your lawn after 10 minutes. Here are a few tips beforehand. In the app, just select Go to Device and then you can create a new map here. The robot will then automatically drive out of its charging station. You can use the joystick to navigate it a bit towards the edge of the lawn and just click on auto mapping. The robot automatically drives along the lawn edges and then creates a virtual map Whenever you notice that it doesn't quite fit, it's not going where it should here, you can switch to manual mode at any time, steer the robot by hand where it should go, and then continue with the automatic function. If you have several properties or several zones, you first complete the first zone, then go into map editing, add another zone via the editing mode. Steer the robot from the charging station into this new zone with the joystick and start auto mapping there again. In this way you can create several zones. The robot also offers you the possibility to define spots in the zone editing where mowing should be particularly active. But there are also zones that you can generally exclude, for example playgrounds or animal enclosures or similar, whenever you're afraid that the automatic obstacle detection just doesn't work quite right. By the way, you can also drive through passages with the robot. They can be quite long. 1.50 meters is no problem at all in my experience. And through these passages you can connect different lawn zones with each other. For example, a lawn zone behind the house, a lawn zone in front of the house. You simply control the robot via the map extension from the old zone across a path into the new zone. The path you're currently steering, that will also be the path the robot will take in the future. Everything I've shown you so far was of course the pure theory, just to get the robot up and running. Once it's running, of course, the exciting question is, how well does it work? I'd like to start my test with the edge processing, and you can see it. I've set an overlap of 20 centimeters, and the robot struggles past these narrow spots along the existing robots. It does that very, very well without touching the edge areas or suffering any damage. It's also exciting, of course, how does the robot handle edges that have a boundary, for example, a curb or a house wall. Here you can see that the robot does scrape along the edge, which in my opinion isn't quite ideal. Here I should definitely rework the edge once more and remove the 20 centimeter overlap. The edge along my hedge isn't clean and accurate. Because of the mulch, there are shifts here between the green lawn and the brown mulch on the side. The cameras on the front of the robot recognize these differences, and through the AI they can assign what is lawn and what isn't. That works surprisingly well by now. However, it gets exciting when you have overlapping parts of the lawn, like here, where the grass isn't growing properly yet and the brown shows through. It has mastered that confidently so far. He mows the edge at the transitions from the lawn to the walkway surprisingly well. With gravel, he has a few problems. He sometimes likes to get stuck or takes a while to get back out, but here, when crossing onto the walkways, it works very, very well. He also followed the edges nicely this time compared to the previous year's model, even if he leaves nearly 10 centimeters at the edge in the inner corner again. The way the M5 LiDAR follows the edges confirms my opinion. This robot is actually not made for large gardens. It's not made for rough terrain and not for slopes or hillsides either. This robot likes the typical front yard. It has to be flat, and ideally there should be boundaries it can drive over. That way the device handles it very, very well. If you don't have fixed zones at the edges, like for example the gravel on the side in my case, then it's quite possible the robot might start having some issues there. So far it's been able to free itself every time for me, but it's not quite as professional as the solution implemented on the M9. Since it works so well with the edges, let's do a live animal test right here. Besides edge mowing and detecting obstacles like animals or my ground tanks, the overall cutting pattern of the lawn is of course crucial for a robotic mower. If you have areas up to 500 square meters, this robot will definitely manage. I've also set up various obstacles here, like putting a chair here or a garden table there. The robot recognized them and drove around them, and the great thing is, if I remove the table, it will mow that spot again next time. So it's not a permanent exclusion zone, instead it tries anew every single time. What I don't like quite as much are a few issues it had, especially at some edge zones, like right here, for example. It doesn't follow the 90-degree edges exactly, but drives in a curve here, and as a result, some grass is always left standing at the 90-degree inner corners, which I then have to go over again using manual control. By the way, that works very, very well. I use the manual control and guide the unit over those spots using the remote on my smartphone, essentially turning it into a manual lawnmower. It would be nice, of course, if the whole thing worked completely automatically so I wouldn't have to do any touch-ups. Anthbot plans to provide updates and bring the software up to date. Via OTA, the automatic software update, that shouldn't be a problem. Now, what else did I notice? Another thing I noticed, among others, is that this robot is very precise when it comes to obstacle detection. It reliably recognized my ground tanks and, just like the M9, consistently classified them as obstacles. It doesn't drive over them. It drove over my walkways without any issues. They have a much more noticeable color, but it avoided the ground tanks, which are green or black. It drove around them. I had to touch those up by hand too. Otherwise, I must say, I really like how easy this robotic mower is to set up. The whole process took less than 10 minutes. Set up the charging station, paired the robot with the app on my phone, and then simply started the auto mapping. The LiDAR system, this laser navigation, this little tower on top, works surprisingly well. It mapped the lawn very well. I was able to create new zones without any problems. I only had to switch to manual mode at 2 points where I deliberately wanted to avoid it during auto mapping, then steered it by hand to where it should continue and could then carry on directly with the automatic mode. But who is the Anthbot M5 LiDAR suitable for now? Well, it's suitable for all those who have a small lawn. Terraced housing estates, small single-family houses with a front or back garden up to 500 square meters, the robotic mower handles without any problems. If your garden is significantly larger, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 square meters, then this is definitely the wrong model because the battery isn't big enough. It would have to go to the charging station too often to recharge, and the driving performance wouldn't be sufficient for that either. But it's not made for that at all. It's really made for this small garden where a garden chair might be outside, where children play, where maybe the guinea pigs have a fenced-off area to graze. That's what it's made for, and for that, I must say, it's also suitable. The LiDAR tower detects obstacles reliably. It goes around them. If I remove the obstacle afterwards, like taking my garden chair away again, it will go to that spot again next time. So once set up and 10 minutes of time invested having driven along the property boundaries with auto mapping without any problems, then you'll have your peace and quiet and might have to check every few months whether you need to change or resharpen the blades. Cleaning is also very easy, of course. Just tilt the robot and spray it clean properly with the garden hose. That's no problem at all here. IPX6 makes it possible for the robot to simply be washed off. Otherwise, I didn't have to do anything else. I had 2 situations where the robot got stuck. That's always my test here on the white gravel. It freed itself every time, but in my opinion, it didn't run perfectly yet. So if you have decorative gravel beds on the sides or areas that are soft where it can get stuck, it can handle it. However, it's not made for that. If you find your property within the specifications that the robot needs and offers, then take a closer look at it. Take a look under the video in the description. There I'll link the robot for you with additional information. I'll also link the accessories available for the robot there. And of course, I'm looking forward to your feedback. Feel free to write a comment under the video. What do you think of this device? What do you think of this usage size up to 500 square meters? Is there even a need for that? I'll put a survey under the video for that. Just click on it. Where would your robot have to be? So what performance do you need for your garden, for example? If you want to know more, write me a comment too. Don't forget to give me a like for this video if it was helpful to you. And I'm already looking forward to the next test that's coming up. Until then, I'll say bye. See you in the next video.